The following program is brought to you by the 0DB Movie Podcast feed.
Hey, welcome back to the solo set here at the 0DB podcast feed. We're currently discussing the Netflix series Altered Carbon, and we're up to episode 9. We got one more to go after this, and the series is over. So episode 9 is called Rage in Heaven, and we open on Kovac and Poe pretty much discussing how he figured out Bancroft's death, and at the same time he's trying to get in touch with Kovac, he's trying to get in touch with Elliot, and no one's returning his calls, if you will, on these comlink things they have. Poe's giving him some shit how do you expect her to call you back when you basically told her you don't love her? And he's kind of like, well, she knew something was up. So now Ortega walks in half dead, bloodied. She just came in from that fight of killing all the different Ray clones, right? So we basically go to Ortega in the bathtub. Kovac is cleaning her up, cleaning her wounds, healing her up, discussing stuff, getting kind of intimate. So now you're like, okay, they're going to discuss what happened. Poe and Lizzie, Poe is in Lizzie's VR world discussing her training. And Poe's trying to wonder if he's gone too far because now she's doing knife throwing. She's like a lethal trained weapon, right? And she keeps saying it's almost time. I keep spying on people going out and creating this web, right? So we don't know what the heck she's talking about. So now we go back to Kovac and Ortega, and it's getting kind of intimate. And then Ortega gives you the whole do you love me? Now I'm just wait a minute, that's not very Ortega-like, she's never just straight up said, do you love me? And you know what? Kovac isn't buying it either. So now he's all wait a minute, and he's thinking about it. And you know what? It's freaking Ray. Ray is in freaking Ortega's sleeve. Yeah, it's Ray. So now Kovac is like, what? What have you done with Ortega? And basically comes down to her saying blood was taken from me. You killed all my clones. Blood is owed now. So he's like, what the hell are you talking about? So basically Ray has the Ghost Walker, which now we know is called Lung or Luang, Leung. She has Lung go and just kill, slaughter, destroy all of Ortega's family. Bloody, bloody, bloody mess, bloody bath. Kovac pieces out to try to save them. Of course, he's not in time. The family is completely slaughtered. Even the kids, abuelita, mama, all those people, right? Not good. Kovac is freaking out now. He's distraught. He really realizes how much he loves Ortega now because now he sees her whole family dead and he's like, what have I done? So he's sitting there and he's thinking about what he's doing, and he's sitting in this bar and he's holding a stack, which you find out to be it's Mary Lou's stack, right? So he meets with Ray at this bar. Basically, they kind of meet. It looks like a meeting of okay, the generals meeting to discuss, because there's a war going on, right? Ortega killed all of Ray's bodies, and now Ray killed of all Ortega's family. So they meet in a bar, and he presents Mary Lou's stack, and he's like, listen, he basically busts Ray for recording. Okay, so basically he figures out that Ray, he tells Ray that he knows that she figured out how to basically make all these whores, recoded them as what they call Neo-C, which is the religious thing, is if you're a Neo-C and you get killed, you can't get spun back up because of your religion. So basically Ray figured out a way to hack into these people's stacks and make them Neo-C so these whores couldn't come back and talk. So Kovac says he's peacing out. He doesn't care anymore. He's done with everybody. He's done with Ray. He's done with Ortega. He's done with the whole freaking world. He's out. He's gone. He doesn't care about anyone. Ray, Ortega, nobody, right? So Ray is kind of like, I don't believe you. She basically tells him the story about her past, being in an orphanage. She really loves him. She just wants to be with him. She calls him Tak, his real name. He still pieces out. Ray's distraught. And at the same time, she kind of like, he tells her, I can't save you. I can't save anyone. I'm done. I don't want anything to do with it. So as he pieces out, she's like, no, don't go. And at the same time, she like radio comms on the side, like, follow him. So Kovacs gets in the car with Miriam. He gets in the car with Miriam like he took the Paradise deal, right? The whole like, I'll have 15 of my bodies up there in this island. You can do whatever you want. So he pieces out and you're like, what? How is this going to end? Boom. There's a scene that says 18 hours earlier. So we basically find out that this is all a ruse, right? Because we're back at the Raven Hotel, and all right. So right before that, sorry, I'm getting this confused, but right before that, Poe is like you see him. The car lifts off with him and Miriam in the car, like he's off to Virgin Land or whatever it is, Paradise Land, Orgy Land. But then we see Poe back at the Raven with this computer screen. He goes, there he goes. And they pan out and you see Kovacs going, there he goes. And you see everybody else in the circle there like saying like, yep, there he goes. So that's when you see the 18 hours earlier sign. So now we find out that it's a ruse, right? And now we got to figure out why. So Elliot and Ava are discussing Lizzie's training, right? And whether it's right or not for her and whether this is moral or not and what have we done to our daughter. And Elliot finally does agree that it is a good thing for her and that she's fighting to become a better person, right? Mentally and hopefully, again, physically. So now we go to like Tanaka investigating the slaughter of Ortega's family. Like it's really like a crazy scene because Tanaka even like falls to the ground and pukes. Kovacs informs everyone of what happened, right? He basically tells his whole little gang of what the deal was, right? Now, Mickey, the coworker of Ortega, he shows up and he's worried about Ortega because he's like, look, Ortega hasn't showed up. I don't know what's going on. I'm an old coworker of hers. You can trust me. So they do all trust him, and then basically, like, Kovacs knows what's going on. He realizes that the Ghostwalker and Ray has Ortega. So now he's like, look, I need a TAC op workstation set up upstairs in my room, and I need everyone to peace out. I want everyone to get new identities and get the hell out of here. I'm done with everybody. It's ready to go to work, right? I'm ready to go to work. So now we can see Ray is holding Ortega captive in, like, this, like, tank thing, right, where the bodies usually sit. So basically, Ray wakes Ortega up and tells her that she is going into VR with the Ghostwalker and, basically screw you. Because she tells her about how she loves Kovacs and blah, 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 and this and that, and then you're a terrible person. So Kovacs wants everyone out because he wants to do this by himself, get in there, kill Ray, get Ortega, and not have any of his friends get hurt. So he tries to kick everyone out, and everyone shows up. And they're all like, look, you helped me, you helped me. Everyone talks about how Kovacs helped them, and now they're all here for him, and they're going to help him. Hashtag teamwork. So Kovacs sets up a plan with the whole team. Now he's got the whole team involved. He has to kind of like forcibly tell them what he's up to, and they all kind of jump in and start working on it. Because they care about him, right? Now we see that they care about him. So we figure out that Kovacs has stolen that DNA sleeve printer from Bancroft's son, and now he has made his own clone, right? So now he double sleeves. Now we got two Kovacs, which is kind of cool. So then you got Kovacs talking to Kovacs, and they're talking about how they need to choose who's going to go on the suicide run, and the other is going to go to Orgy Island. So now we see the plan is that, right? Now we see that it's going to be two Kovacs. So that way everyone can see Kovacs peace out with Miriam going to Orgy Island, and the other Kovacs can stay behind and do what he's got to do. So who goes and who goes where, right? So they're both seeing each other. They basically do a rock, paper, scissors to figure out who's going to go. And we get back to the present. Now we get back to the present, and Kovacs basically tells everyone, well, my clone got to go because, I won to make a choice. And I figured since he never got laid, I'd let him go to Orgy Island and have a good time. And I can see this through and make sure that my sister is dealt with, right? So the clone went to Orgy Paradise. Kovacs meets with Lizzie to say goodbye. he basically is like, look, I'm leaving. We're not see each other. And like, she basically like tells him, no, we will. It's all good. You don't need to say goodbye. And now Kovac is thinking, was Lizzie tortured in the Way Clinic? So his sister's involved in this too, which gets even worse, right? So Elliot installs like an eye camera in Kovac's eye so he can get Ray's confession, right? So basically Kovac was going to do this all by himself, but Elliot was like, no, I'm helping you with this, bro. Like, you need help with this. So this is a big plan. Timing is all essential. Now we got a whole like Ocean's 11 thing happening, right? So we see Elliot going to the horror place up in the clouds called Head in the Clouds. He's dressed as what looks like a general, right? And it looks like he's going to be the guy that fakes his way in. I guess he's going to get the girls or whatever when he gets there, right, as a general. So the plan begins. Elliot meets with the girl. It's like this 19-year-old girl. He's freaking out because she gives him all these torture tools. Like, okay, now you can like cut me and do things to me. And like, he's freaking out. He didn't realize how crazy this was. He just thought this was like a prostitution ring. The girl's 19 years old and she's ready to do whatever she wants. They get tortured. He basically tells her that you can't be doing this. She gets upset because she's like, oh no, I'm going to get fired and they're going to kill me for real and get like real death and not put me in a new sleeve like they promised after they kill me. So this place is to torture girls by really, really high-end meth people, right? Kovac was hiding in the trunk when Elliot showed up. Kovac finally gets in. I'm going through this pretty quick because it's better to watch these scenes because they're a lot more exciting, right? So we're just kind of reviewing this. Kovac gets in. The plan goes a little awry because Elliot now basically wants to save the girl. He's like, I got to get out of here. This is crazy. So he like gets confronted by this like Pope-looking dude who welcomed them in the beginning. He kills them. This whole thing starts happening with the alarms and stuff. So now Kovac and Elliot finally get to Ray. He's able to get the device. They have this device that they're going to get right near her. So when she blinks to do her backup of her stack, her backup's going to get a virus, right? And it's called Rawling. So Ray's like, what the hell are you doing here? I figured it out. You guys are busted. He's like, no, you're in trouble because now your backup has Rawling. All your clones are dead, and you're the only life you have left. So now you got to deal with this. So she's like, why are you doing this to me? You can't do this, right? So he wants a full confession from her. He's like, look, I'll give you a full confession, and then you can go to jail, and then when you come back, it can be like, we can start over again because you need to pay for your penance here, right? Like, you've been a bad, bad person. So he wants her to pay for her big mistakes and to get her back as her sister, because the sister he used to know. She wants her brother that he used to know so they can rule the galaxy together, and he just wants her sister back and be normal people. So long story short, she gives the confession. She gives this long-ass confession, and they go back and show what happened. Mary Lou, she ended up jumping from Head in the Clouds because Bancroft was so whacked on this speed stuff, this like adrenaline rage stuff. He was destroying this other girl and the other. And so Mary Lou, instead of her getting killed by Bancroft, she just wanted to jump. Hopefully they find her stack and then she can come back or something. But she basically prefers to kill herself over this guy destroying her. That's what happened to Mary Lou. Riker, he needed to be framed to help Ray. So Ray basically made it look like Riker killed these people and he was framed and put away to get him out of the way. And then we discover that Bancroft did kill himself. He actually did kill himself because he found out what he did and he couldn't live with that and he didn't want to remember it also. So he blew out his stack and then he'd be brought back not knowing what happened. So Kovac was also Ray. He worked it out. She worked it out for Bancroft to get Takashi Kovac because she wanted her brother back. So this is the perfect way to get him in through another body and like eventually pull him out. This is a huge elaborate plan that her sister built to get her brother back. I'm thinking she loves him more as a brother too, because in the beginning of this episode, when she was wearing Ortega's sleeve, she was all like, oh, this is kind of hot, you know? And Kovac was like, whoa, this is way too freaky. So, boom. Now, after she does this whole confession and all that, they don't want to get Ortega out of VR because they know that would bring the Ghost Walker out and he'll know something's up. So basically, after she does this whole confession and they're like, and it looks like it's all wrapped up, boom. Ray's people come and trap them. Now, tides have turned. I think the Ghost Walker's out. They've surrounded Elliot and Kovacs, and they're like, yo, gig is up. Boom, episode ends. So now it's like, what? Everything just could turn on its head immediately on what you thought was such a good plan, right? There's one episode left, folks. One episode left. So when we come back, we're going to know what happened, and that's going to be into the series of season 1, and then we can talk about what's going to happen after that. So I'm your host, Gabe Eniel, here at the Solo Set for the Zero DB podcast feed, doing Netflix series Altered Carbon, and that was episode 9, and up next to be episode 10, the last episode of this series. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. I'll see you next time. Thanks, guys.